Hello everyone, my name is Evie Mobouck. I am a facilitator with the Tools of Access Consciousness, and I have a few different businesses that I've created with that. One of them is creating bars classes and body process classes, and also private sessions. And the other business is called Social Design, where I basically with some really cool tools, also from Access Consciousness, where I am the voice of businesses, and including mine. And how does it get any better than that? So with this, which is a tool, how does it get any better than that is a question you can ask all the time. How does it get any better than that? You can always have what it is right now, so why not have things better than what it already is? And what I would love to talk to you about in this video is about relationship. So, relationship, a pain, a gain, or something else? And I had to go through a lot of, let's say, learning situations to get where I am today. And I had, like 5 years ago, I woke up in an abusive relationship, and I was basically abused in every possible way, like mentally, physically, psychologically, and money-wise as well. And you might think, oh, poor thing. I was like, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because that relationship was like the cherry on the top of my own creative pie. That was a lot of abuse, trauma, a lot of drama, and I was not willing to be in charge of my life. So this relationship was basically like the volcano eruption that was required for me to look at myself, to look at all my relationships. And I mean like every relationship. I looked at everything. I looked at my relationship with my family. I looked at my relationship with my friends. I looked at my love relationships. I looked at the relationship with my friend, with myself, the relationship like business-wise. And it was so uncomfortable to like look at the sum total of how much I was choosing abuse in all these relationships. I never really learned to be kind to myself. So the number one abuser was me. I was so... it was my comfort zone. Being abused and also being abusive was my comfort zone. And at that time, 5 years ago, when I woke up in that relationship, I made a demand, like, stop. Like, seriously, stop. This is, because I was like, was it working for me? No. And that's like the first thing that I can offer you as a tool when you're in a relationship and it's a pain. Let's start with that. It's basically like, is it working for you? If it is working for you, which was like my abusive relationships were working for me for a long time, and that was fine. There was nothing wrong with me. There was nothing wrong with the people I was in a relationship with. It was just working for all parties. And the moment where you're like, okay, so is it working for me? And it's a no. Then like, okay, so what other choices are available in relationship that you have never considered before? And even like, what choices do you have in relationship that other people might not necessarily have? If I look at today how I am in relationship, it is very different than most people will ever choose. And it has been a choice. I'm a little bit of a loner in that area. And I must say, like, I am so happy that I stayed committed into changing it, because right now it is actually a place where it is starting to work for me, and has been creating so much ease and peace in my world, and my life is actually getting greater and bigger, and there's just so much more available than there was ever before. So yeah, like another tool and a question could be is like, so what is working, what is currently not working for you, is what you most likely have been grown up with. It's like, if I look at what I'm choosing right now, I don't see it in society. I don't see it. Like, I have had to ask myself what it would be for me. So a question that is like, that you could start asking, it's another tool, is like, so what is my reality with relationships? And you can also like ask the universe, hey universe, can you show me what my reality with relationships is? Can you show me what works for me? Because like, obviously I don't have a clue, because look what I have been creating so far. Can you please show me? And I would like to add to this that most likely it will never, ever show up the way you think it does. Because this relationship thing has been like my top priority list for like the last 5 years, because my relationships were basically killing me inside. Like, I always had like this thing where I was like trying to be nice to everybody, and while being angry and being like a volcano inside, because basically it wasn't. Like, I was constantly lying to myself, and I was lying to these people because I was choosing something that wasn't working. So, and that's the thing, like you get to this point, it's not working, you ask questions, and then there is the next step. When you ask for something, it will show up. And with this thing, like, most likely it won't show up the way you think it does. This is where the second thing comes in place, is like you have to choose something different. I love Albert Einstein's definition of insanity. Is like, his definition is like, insanity is choosing the same thing all over again and hoping for a different result. Well, it doesn't work. You could try. And then see how that works. I have done that a lot, like wishful thinking, and there was definitely like a very distorted image that I had of relationship, where I was like hoping for a Prince Charming come my way on a white horse and will save the day and will be happily ever after. And I actually had to admit to myself that a lot of my frustration and anger came from that big lie. If I look at my life today, I really don't require a Prince Charming. I don't even require one Prince Charming, and I most definitely don't need saving. Like, I'm pretty capable of creating a life in the future. So, like, what is your agenda with relationships? Like, how often all the lies that we have of relationship is not even true for you? Like, as long as I was like buying the lie that I was waiting for my Prince Charming for me to save the day, I would have never gotten here to where I am right now. And this is what basically my relationships were showing me in the abusive relationship. Like, I was so still waiting for my Prince Charming to save my day. I was so not willing to be empowered. I was so not willing to be in control of my life that I've created the perfect guy that I was really asking for. Like, control me, abuse me, do it for me. And the guy was very willing. Like, he was giving me exactly what I was asking for. And this is where we like really get all tangled up. Like, we have this one distorted image, these lies, and this is basically what we're creating. But like, is it really working for you? If I look at my relationships today, they're totally different. Like, I had to let go of stuff that wasn't working, so other stuff would show up. And it was showing up business-wise, it was showing up personally-wise, and it was like showing up in ways that I would never even consider. Like, for example, my roommate, earlier this year, we were, this was basically like, you're in Nice, I can work everywhere with my computer, shall I come and live with you for a couple of months? And she had to think about it for a few days, and she's like, yeah, I totally let go of my image that I had to do this all alone, so yeah, come along. And then it turned out that that choice was actually creating so much more for both ways. And no, it wasn't a love romantic relationship. It wasn't a sexy relationship. It was just a different kind of a relationship. And it was a relationship that I have been asking for such a long time. One where you can be you, where there is space for you to be you, when there is like, where there is no judgment, where they look beyond the judgments that you have of you, where you get to be creating greater, like creating more money, you have more possibility, and also where people are willing to look at their stuff, and of course, like, am I willing to look at my stuff? And it was like a big yes. And so this is the thing, like, even like when you are in a relationship, like, is that it, or is there something else? And this is where something else, pain gain or something else, is like, whatever relationship could be a way for you to get through your all insane areas that weren't really clear for you. Whatever relationship is meant to create more clarity, where you get to go beyond your shit, so you actually have really something different. And this is what I don't see often in relationship people, or what I don't see often in a relationship is like where people get to choose based on what they think, a lot of the things that I see is like they think they need somebody, they don't think they can be alone, they need to fill in the empty spaces, they need sex, there's like a need, and this is like where the gain comes in, like pain gain, like how much are you trying to gain in relationship, and it's still about you. The pain is like everywhere you give yourself up to be in a relationship, so you would be alone, or whatever you've decided. And then the something else with relationship is where whatever relationship is like where both parties get to be more of them. There's more possibilities for both. It's not about controlling the other. It's not about needing the other to fill in the gaps for you. It's not about like, what if you be space for each other with no judgments, and if there are, you work on them, you look at it, you don't project your stuff, like you don't so no projections, no judgments, and that's what the third one I was looking for. You don't expect. Because like when you expect, have you already taken them out of choice? And that's what I've noticed in relationship. As soon as I see that I don't get choice anymore, or I leave the other one out of a choice, then that's not what I would call a conscious relationship. And this is basically, I have 3 things with me here, And this is from a telecall that I did with Shannon O'Hara and Mac Zoulek, how to make a relationship work. And in that were they discussing the elements of creating a conscious relationship. They're actually pretty cool. I think you can find these elements also in a class called Foundation from Access Consciousness. It's also in other relationship classes with Gary Douglas and Dr. Daun Heer, and then this one, and it's pretty epic. It's like everything that nobody ever told you about relationship, and that's like, what if relationship isn't about pain? What if relationship isn't about gain? What if relationship is about something else? And what is that something else for you? This other book, Living Beyond Distraction. It is a book from Gary Douglas and Dr. Daun Heer. And one of the things that we do is we distract ourselves with love, sex, jealousy, and peace. It's one of the distraction plans that they talk about. And it's basically so different than, again, like what we have learned. Like I used to think that I was like a fuck up because I could never tell to somebody, I could never say I love you, and if somebody would tell me I love you, I would always like, it feels so weird, like it didn't make me happy. It felt like a trap. And then when I heard a different take on like love, is like how many definitions and how many projections and how many expectations are in the word love that we feel, that the information that we really receive, like energetically, when somebody tells you, I love you, but I never want you to hang out with your friends anymore, but I want you to do this for me every Friday, but, like it's every time when you do something that they don't want you to do, the love is suddenly over. And I've had that for so many times. I did it. I did the same thing with other people, and it made me always feel so disgusting. And I felt trapped. I remember one of my relationships with a guy that I bought a house with, I always felt so trapped, and I was like, fuck, there need to be something different, but I just don't know how to get out of this cycle where I keep choosing the same thing all over again and knowing that it's not working. Like I was like, and I didn't know how to, like, that was my question. What the fuck? This is not working. Shouldn't there be? And then my mind was always immediately like, no, this is it. So I kept being frustrated and angry while pretending to be happy and nice. So that book. And then there's another book called Divorceless Relationships. It's also from Gary Douglas and Dr. Daun Heer. There's a lot of books of these guys, but I really love how they look at things and how they really, really, really think out of the box, and that it works, like the stuff that they're doing, like all these tools of access consciousness. These two guys, love it. Totally changed my life. Yeah, saved. I actually have a life again, which before was not even possible. And the Divorceless Relationship is like basically a book where, what if you never have to divorce you? So this is where like the pain, like how much do you give up you so you could be in a relationship? I see that a lot. Like what if you don't have to divorce you? And what if you don't have to divorce the other? What if maybe you don't need a relationship, which is basically, I have another book as well. Oh, this is so interesting. Why didn't I take this one out? It's a book from Brendon and Simone, Milasas, Relationship. Are you sure you want one? And the book is hilarious. And this is basically where it's like, these people got together, created a great relationship, and then they decided like, it's not working anymore. So they just split up. The book came out, and which is like perfect. It's like the best showcase of the book, which is like, what if relationship can always be a choice? What if relationship can always be a contribution, and where it's like makes life at least 10 times easier or 20 times or 30 times? What if it's not like, what if relationship shouldn't be hard work? What if relationship, and this is something that I hear a lot where I live in Belgium, like you should pour water with your wine. I'm like, what? No, if it's not working, it's not working. Why should you pour water with your wine? It should be, the wine should taste really good, and the wine shouldn't change itself because it doesn't work for the other. Like, wine is wine, and you can drink each other's wine as long as it works, and if it doesn't work anymore, you just go. Nobody's wrong. You're not right. It's just, look at nature. It just is there for each other, and it maybe some animals are pack animals and some animals are solo animals, and some in times of scarcity they maybe like rely on each other, or they will eat each other. It's like it's just what it is. It's just nature. So in relationships, what if it could be like that? Like, I got eaten by my abusive relationship. Did I die? Yeah. The me that wasn't working died. And what else is possible now? So I've talked for 21 minutes. It's a really long time. If you've made it this far, how is getting better than that? And what else is truly possible? Like, what is your reality with relationship? What choices in relationship do you have that nobody else has? And universe, can you show me what works for me in relationships? Yeah, just ask. And then, of course, you have to choose different. When something shows up, go for the ride. As an awesome person recently said, choice creates awareness. I've heard it before, but it was like, choice isn't meant to look at what's right or wrong. It's meant to be as information. You choose something, there's the info. What else is required? Maybe you have more questions. Maybe you will have to you will have to choose more other stuff. What if it's like never ends? What if it's like, okay, I asked this, and there's that, and then it's done? What if it's like always like a work in progress? That's that.